Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Suleiman here, Messer of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Brothers and sisters, I just want to show a quick video here. This is a confirmation of everything we've been talking about. Every day, if you listen to the messenger of the covenant, those people that are standing with me, listen to this message. It's confirming everything they're saying is confirming everything that we're saying. Everything that they're saying on the news is confirming everything that we're saying. And you hear no one out there talking about these things. No one. They haven't a clue. They have no idea what's going on, or what's about to happen, or when, or where, or why, or who, or nothing. No one's talking about it. And to the extent they are talking about it all, they got all backwards. All backwards. See, we are fast approaching the boiling point of the time of unprecedented trouble. We're already in unprecedented trouble. See, where war is looming all over the place. They are telling you now they're not talking about sanctions anymore in the Middle East. They're saying they're committed to going to war. We told you that Iran is not going back to JCPOA. Now they're acknowledging that they're not going to it. America, falls Israel, and Britain is acknowledging that they're not going back to JCPOA. So they tell them if they don't go back, they have to go to war. And because they're still enriching, that means they have to go to war within a few days. That's what they're saying. They say they're going to have to go to war in a few days because they're too close to achieving a nuclear material to have an atomic bomb. So here we have that. You don't have to take my word for it. Just go out there and listen to the news. And then we have Russia today saying they chased America out of their region, their seas. And you have China already telling America we're going to war in a few days because you got troops in Taiwan. They told them if we find you have troops in Taiwan, we're immediately going to war. No questions asked. And now they realize there are troops in Taiwan, American troops, that's been training them for a possible, to repel a possible invasion by China. These things we've been telling you about. And we're not only telling you about them, we're telling you about the sequence. I've been telling you for years that a war be the Middle East, and then America be at war with China, Russia, and North Korea. Even 2 or 3 years ago, you couldn't imagine it. I've been telling you this for 30 years. I also told you that with America, I've been telling you for years that America will not be allowed to use its nuclear arsenal. They will not scorch this planet with nuclear weapons. And so when you listen to this video, they're confirming it. See? So we are the news, real news. See? We are the true news. See? So just hold on and listen. Because we're telling you the news before the news. So I'm going to play this video and then a short video, and listen to it before they take it down, because they like to take my videos down and say they have copyright considerations and stuff like that. Hold on for a second.
Oh, another UFO segment. That's crazy. You'd have to be crazy to believe that's possible. Really? Is it any crazier than what's coming out of, say, your average White House briefing? No, it really isn't. So with that in mind, a fascinating conference today about UFOs and nuclear weapons that took place in Washington. At it, a U.S. Air Force captain called David Shindeli said he was part of an incident in which a UFO disabled 10 nuclear ICBM missiles. Here's part of what he said.
There has been a long history of UFO incidents and encounters, with much investigation of them from 1947 and even earlier. In September of 1966, I was the Minuteman ICBM Launch Control Officer and Deputy Commander of a launch crew stationed at Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota. I was involved in a UFO incident at that time where a flying object tampered with and took down a total of 10 nuclear-tipped ICBM missiles by rendering them unlaunchable.
Tom Rogan is one of the rare serious journalists, actual journalists, in Washington who's been on this story for years in a very rigorous way. He's a columnist now with the Washington Examiner. He was following the conference today. He joins us tonight for a recap. Tom, thanks a lot for coming on. So what did you learn today at this event?
Thanks, Tucker. Yeah, I think the key point here is that although these gentlemen have been telling their stories for a while, now they are doing it in a fashion where they can finally be taken seriously by more people. And fortunately, there weren't that many journalists there today, but there were more perhaps than there have been. I think the key point, though, is that people with some of the highest security clearances at the height of the Cold War for the US Air Force, multiple different individuals at multiple different sites across a period of decades, say that UFOs interacted with nuclear weapons platforms and either rendered them inoperable or took them offline. And so something was done by a technological force, as these officers would suggest, that cannot be explained. And that in and of itself surely should be big news worthy of serious further investigation.
Well, by definition, I mean, any force that can take America's nuclear weapons offline is something you need to worry about. Presumably the Pentagon has been looking at this, assessed it. Have they given any indication of what they think happened?
What's, I think, unfortunate, and I guess we're at the start of a process, the Director of National Intelligence had this report, but what's unfortunate is that the government does know that there is a nuclear connection. They've kept that classified. Frankly, I can understand why some of it is classified, but they should come clean with a lot more that they know. I mean, the simple fact, right, the US Navy, why does the Navy keep seeing these things with the aircraft carriers? Well, aircraft carriers are nuclear powered. Why do submarines see them? Nuclear connection. This nuclear missile incidents from the Cold War, there's credible testimony from a great historian on this, Robert Hastings, who wrote about UFOs and nukes, to suggest that the Soviets had similar experiences.
Yeah.
Something is going on here. It's not America, it's not China, it's not Russia, and we need to get a grip and take it seriously instead of laughing it off as an issue for crazy people.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of crazy people in this world right now. I would say the people who take this seriously may be among the least crazy in our public conversation, and you're certainly in that category. Right. Tom Rogan, appreciate your coming on tonight and covering this. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen.
Bob Salas is the name of another former U.S. Air Force officer who spoke at today's press conference. We recently sat down with Salas for an episode of Tucker Carlson Originals called The UFO Files. And here's part of what he told us.
In March 24th, 1967, I was stationed at Maelstrom Air Force Base, Montana.
Bob Salas was a captain in the U.S. Air Force at Maelstrom Air Force Base in Montana when something shocking happened in the night sky.
We were located about 60 feet underground when I get a phone call from my topside guard, we call him, flight security controller. He said, sir, they were seeing some strange lights in the sky. They were flying very fast just above our facility, stopping on a dime, reversing course, making 90-degree turns.
Well, there's always been a lot of pressure not to take the subject seriously. Of course, there's a lot of pressure not to take a lot of subjects seriously. We laugh in the face of that pressure, so we have always taken it seriously. You can stream that documentary, The UFO Files, on Fox Nation. It's worth it. Well, one...
One second, brothers and sisters. Okay, make of what you will. I've been talking about this for 30 years. I told you, Master Muhammad is alive, well. He does not sleep nor slumber, and they will not be able to use their nuclear arsenal. But think between the lines here. If America's nuclear arsenal is impotent, it's a dud. That's the only thing that keeps all the nations, its enemies, off its back. And we got China raging and roaring. The waves are raging and roaring over there. When they talking about the waves are raging and roaring, if you understand the unsealed Bible, that's talking about, remember, they represent the sea. And they're raging and roaring. They're the goat that's totally angry at the ram. See? And they're on their way. And America cannot defend itself with its nuclear arsenal, which it will not be able to, because when they pull a trigger, it's going to be blanks. Also, Israel, when it pulls the trigger, it's going to find as blanks. Then you hear what they says? These so-called UFOs are circling all their nuclear facilities and rendering them incompetent, disabled, making them blanks. They cannot use them. Inoperable. That's the word they use, inoperable. Think of what that means. That means if they had a nuclear war, they cannot depend that their missiles will even fire. See, if you're going into battle, right, with guns and you cannot be sure that your guns will not jam up, what kind of, that in itself would be defeat, because you would be nervous. See, because you have to be sure that your weapons work. And that's the only thing that's keeping the nations off America's back, right, is a threat of nuclear war. And why are they keeping it secret? The fact that they're doing this tells you that America's, forget about everything else. The fact that they are rendering some inoperable means they can render all inoperable. So why if you can do some, why not do all? I mean, what's the point of doing just some of them? That means they do not have a nuclear capability. That's what you're being told there. That's why it's kept a secret. America does not have a nuclear capability. All their nuclear weapons are duds. They cannot use them. War talk, brothers and sisters. See, we're talking about war. They declared wars 500 years ago. Now you got the God of war on the scene. Master Muhammad is the God of war. They want to F around with war. Now they got it. See. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Watch this before I take it down. Because they don't want, they don't want, they intruders out there. Yeah, it ain't in here with them. So pay attention, brothers and sisters. You don't have to be afraid of a nuclear war. If there's any nuclear changes going on at all, it won't be on us. We know America will be nuked. They're going to burn America down. It tells you, it says it in chapter 17. It said they will make her desolate, eat her flesh, and burn her down with fire. That means they're going to break the country. When they invade, they're going to break it, desolate. People will be starving. It won't be any, everything will be, the economy, everything will be broken. And then they're going to eat her flesh. They're going to take the people that's healthy, young, healthy people, take them into perpetual slaves. And those who led slavery were taken to slavery. They enslaved us. Now what you have done should be done to you. See, so they're going to take them in perpetual slavery. That's what China and India. They think India is their friend. It's not. India will be, as I said, death and haze. India will be with China when they invade, and they say they will burn it down with fire. See, that's America's future, and it's the future for 2021. I'm putting my neck out there. I'm saying it's going to happen this year, 2021, and we only got what, 2 or 3 months left. See? But no one knows the day or the hour, but Master Muhammad himself. See, but I don't stick my neck out there. I think, right? I don't know exactly, but I think it will happen this year. I'm totally confident in that. But we shall see. Brothers and sisters, the only way you hear the truth is here. So stand up and be a beacon for the truth. Because our people are coming running in a minute. See? See what it says, when the four winds blow, right? See? They're going to drive you out. It says, when they kill the firstborn, I told you the unsealed version of that. It says, that will make them, that plague will cause them to drive. When they drive you out, that means they're not playing with you. When somebody drives you out, that means if somebody drives you out of your home, what can make somebody drive to your home unless the fear of violence? If they just argue with you for that's not, the only thing will force you to leave out of your home is the fear of violence. The fear of violence. See? The threat of violence. So they're going to drive you out, so it won't be a threat. They're actually using violence That means death. See? But they're not going to be able to, and that's, think about it, America is not a nuclear power anymore. And when the nations figure that out, woe unto America, woe to Gog and Magog. When the nations figure out, when they figure it out, what do you think is going to happen? Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Let's see, is there anything? You see something real quick. One second here. Okay, that should be it. Okay. That's it, brothers and sisters. Hi, Assalamu alaikum.